FAA Part 107 regulations require drone pilots to operate their drones safely and responsibly to avoid hazardous flight operations and hazardous attitudes. Here's an overview of these concepts. Operations over people. Drone pilots must avoid flying their drone over people who are not directly involved in the operation of the drone unless they have obtained a waiver from the FAA. Operations near other aircraft. Drone pilots must maintain a safe distance from other aircraft, including airplanes, helicopters, and other drones. Operations near airports. Drone pilots must not fly their drone within 5 miles of an airport without obtaining authorization from air traffic control. Adverse weather conditions. Drone pilots must avoid flying their drone in adverse weather conditions that may affect the flight of the drone, such as strong winds, heavy rain, or snow. Interference with emergency operations. Drone pilots must not interfere with emergency operations, including firefighting or other rescue operations. Impulsivity. Drone pilots must avoid making impulsive decisions and take necessary time to plan and prepare for their operation. Resignation. Drone pilots must avoid becoming resigned to negative outcomes and must take the necessary steps to mitigate any risks associated with their operation. Invulnerability. Drone pilots must avoid becoming overconfident in their abilities and must recognize the potential risks associated with the operation. Macho attitude. Drone pilots must avoid taking unnecessary risks and must prioritize safety over impressing others or taking unnecessary risks. Complacency. Drone pilots must avoid becoming complacent in their operation and must remain vigilant throughout the operation to identify and address any potential hazards. By following these guidelines, drone pilots can help ensure safe and responsible drone operation under FAA Part 107 regulations. In this section, you'll learn about what to do in the event of an emergency. Drone pilots operating under FAA Part 107 regulations must follow certain guidelines to ensure the safety of the people on the ground and other aircraft. Here are some key considerations for emergency operations. Notify air traffic control. If the emergency occurs in controlled airspace, the drone pilot must notify ATC immediately and follow any instructions provided by the controller. Clear the area. If possible, the drone pilot should clear the area and land the drone safely in a safe location away from people and property. Notify emergency responders. If the emergency involves a potential threat to public safety, the drone pilot should notify emergency responders, such as police or fire departments, as soon as possible. Keep visual contact. If possible, the drone pilot must maintain visual contact with the drone to ensure that it is not posing a hazard to people or other aircraft. Document the incident. After the emergency is resolved, the drone pilot should document the incident, including any actions taken to address the emergency and any damage caused by the drone or related equipment. It is important for drone pilots to be prepared for emergency situations and to have a plan in place to respond quickly and effectively. By following these guidelines, drone pilots can help ensure safe and responsible operation during emergency situations under FAA Part 107 regulations. In the event of a lost link between the drone and the remote controller, FAA Part 107 regulations require drone pilots to follow specific procedures to ensure the safety of people on the ground and other aircraft. Here are the steps a drone pilot should take in the event of a lost link. Immediately attempt to reestablish the link. The first step is to attempt to reestablish the link between the drone and the remote controller using the procedures outlined in the drone's user manual. Activate the drone's Return to Home, or RTH feature. If the link cannot be reestablished, the drone pilot should activate the drone's RTH feature, which will initiate an automated flight back to the launch location. Monitor the drone's flight. While the drone is returning to the launch location, the drone pilot should closely monitor its flight path and ensure that it does not pose a hazard to people or other aircraft. Land the drone safely. Once the drone has returned to the launch location, the drone pilot should safely land the drone in a location away from people and property. Report the incident. If the lost link results in a damage to property or injury to a person, the drone pilot must report the incident to the FAA within 10 days. It is important for drone pilots to be prepared for a lost link and to have a plan in place to respond quickly and effectively. By following these procedures, drone pilots can help ensure the safe operation of their drone under FAA Part 107 regulations. FAA Part 107 regulations require drone pilots to operate their drones safely, including the proper use and maintenance of lithium polymer batteries, or LiPo batteries. Here are some key considerations for LiPo battery use under Part 107. Transporting LiPo batteries. When transporting LiPo batteries, they must be carried in a fireproof container or bag and stored separately from other equipment to avoid damage or puncture. Charging LiPo batteries. LiPo batteries should only be charged using a charger specifically designed for LiPo batteries, and the charger should be monitored during the charging process to ensure that the battery does not overheat or overcharge. Storing LiPo batteries. LiPo batteries should be stored in a cool, dry place and should never be exposed to extreme temperatures, which can cause damage or reduce their lifespan. Inspecting LiPo batteries. Before each flight, the drone pilot should inspect the LiPo battery for signs of damage, such as swelling or punctures, and should not use a damaged battery. Disposing of LiPo batteries. LiPo batteries should be disposed of properly, following local regulations and guidelines for hazardous waste disposal. By following these guidelines, drone pilots can help ensure the safe and responsible use of LiPo batteries under FAA Part 107 regulations. In this section, you will learn about the importance of decision-making and resource management as it relates to safe drone operations. FAA Part 107 regulations require drone pilots to practice aeronautical decision-making, ADM, and crew resource management, CRM, to ensure safe and effective operation of their drone. Here are some key considerations for ADM and CRM under Part 107. Evaluate the risks. Before each flight, the drone pilot should evaluate the risks associated with the operation, including weather conditions, airspace restrictions, and potential hazards in the area. Develop a plan. Based on the risk assessment, the drone pilot should develop a plan for the operation, including the route, altitude, and emergency procedures. Communicate with the crew. If there are other crew members involved in the operation, the drone pilot should communicate the plan and any updates or changes throughout the operation. Monitor the situation. During the operation, the drone pilot should monitor the situation and be prepared to make adjustments to the plan if conditions change. Use all available resources. The drone pilot should use all available resources such as weather reports, maps, and checklists to ensure safe and effective operation of the drone. By practicing ADM and CRM, drone pilots can help ensure that their operations are safe, effective, and in compliance with the FAA Part 107 regulations. In this section, we're going to touch upon some commonly used acronyms. Here are some FAA Part 107 acronyms and their meanings. PAVE, or PAVE. PAVE is an acronym used in ADM and stands for P, pilot. Assess the pilot's physical and mental readiness for the flight. A, aircraft. Assess the aircraft's condition and airworthiness. V, environment. Evaluate the weather and the environment where the flight will take place. E, external pressures. Assess any external pressures, such as time constraints or financial pressures, that may influence the decision-making process. I am safe. I am safe is an acronym used in CRM and stands for I, illness. Assess the pilot's physical condition and any illnesses that may impact the ability to fly. M, medication. Assess the impact of any medications the pilot may be taking on their ability to fly. S, stress. Assess the level of stress that the pilot may be experiencing, which could impact their ability to fly. A, alcohol. Assess the pilot's alcohol consumption and whether it is safe to fly. F, fatigue. Assess the level of fatigue that the pilot may be experiencing, which could impact their ability to fly. E, emotions. Assess the pilot's emotional state and whether it is safe to fly. Decide. Decide is an acronym used in ADM and stands for D, detect. Detect and identify any changes or factors that may impact the flight. E, estimate. Estimate the impact of those changes or factors on the flight. C, choose. Choose a course of action based on the estimated impact. I, identify. Identify the outcomes of the chosen course of action. D. Do. Take action based on the chosen course of action. E. Evaluate. Evaluate the outcomes of the chosen course of action. 3 Ps. The 3 Ps stand for the 3 elements of risk management. P for probability. Assess the likelihood that a risk will occur. P for potential. Assess the potential severity of the risk if it does occur. Plan. Develop a plan to mitigate the risk. In this section, you'll learn all about radio communications. FAA Part 107 regulations require drone pilots to maintain radio communication with their air traffic control, ATC, or a visual observer, VO, as necessary to ensure the safe operation of the drone. Here are some key considerations for radio communication under Part 107. Use the correct frequency. The drone pilot should use the correct frequency for the airspace in which they are operating. This information can be obtained from the FAA's UAS facility maps or from ATC. Identify yourself. The drone pilot should identify themselves and their location to ATC or the VO when making contact. Use clear and concise language. The drone pilot should use clear and concise language when communicating, avoiding unnecessary words. Listen for instructions. The drone pilot should listen carefully for any instructions from ATC or the VO and follow them promptly. Report any issues. If there are any issues with the drone or operation, the drone pilot should immediately report them to the ATC or VO. By following these guidelines, drone pilots can ensure effective communication and safe operation of their drone in compliance with the FAA regulations. In this section, you'll learn about UAS loading and performance. FAA Part 107 regulations require drone pilots to ensure that the unmanned aircraft system is loaded in a way that ensures safe operation and complies with the manufacturer's specifications. Here are some key considerations for UAS loading and performance under Part 107. Check the manufacturer's specifications. The drone pilot should review the manufacturer's specifications for the UAS to ensure that it is loaded within the specified weight and balance limits. Secure the payload. The drone pilot should ensure that any payload is securely attached to the drone and does not affect the drone's balance or stability. Consider the impact of wind and weather. The drone pilot should consider the impact of wind and weather on the UAS's performance and adjust the payload as necessary to maintain safe and stable flight. Monitor battery life. The drone pilot should monitor the UAS's battery life to ensure that it has sufficient power to complete the planned operation safely. Keep records. The drone pilot should keep records of the UAS's weight and balance, payload, and battery usage to ensure compliance with the FAA Part 107 regulations. By following these guidelines, drone pilots can ensure safe and effective UAS loading and performance in compliance with the FAA regulations. In this section, you'll learn the importance of drone maintenance and inspection. FAA Part 107 regulations require drone pilots to ensure that the unmanned aircraft system is properly maintained and inspected to ensure safe operation. Here are some key considerations for UAS maintenance and inspection under Part 107. Regular inspections. The drone pilot should perform regular inspections of the UAS, including the airframe, flight control system, propulsion system, and other critical components. Check for damage. The drone pilot should inspect the UAS for any signs of damage, such as cracks, dents, or scratches, and repair or replace any damaged components before operating the drone. Battery maintenance. The drone pilot should inspect and maintain the UAS's batteries, ensuring that they are charged properly and stored safely. Log maintenance activities. The drone pilot should keep a log of all maintenance activities, including inspection, repairs, and component replacements. Follow manufacturer's instructions. The drone pilot should always follow the manufacturer's instructions for maintenance and the inspection of the UAS, and consult with a qualified technician if necessary. By following these guidelines, drone pilots can ensure safe and reliable operation of their UAS in compliance with FAA Part 107 regulations. Now you're going to take a test on the previous section. Good luck to you, and I'll see you when you get back.